Hi there, and thank you for clicking on this video. This is going to be more of a discussion piece, and we're going to talk about bans and how to appeal them for no reason at all. There's a bit of drama going on. I'm not going to mention it for reasons. So, with ban appeals, and specifically the Warframe EULA, which is garbage. It's poorly written. They were hyper focused on assigning responsibility and trying to get specific things lodged out, that there are issues. They could be called loopholes. I wouldn't elevate them to that. But ideally, the function that an EULA is supposed to serve is an easily understood document that provides essentially, I don't know if you've been bowling, but bumper rails that everybody can understand so they know what lane they're supposed to stay in terms of overall function. Obviously, it's a legal document meant to protect the company, but if a company genuinely wants the EULA to be something that is a good thing, they kind of have to go with the bumper analogy. DE took the legalese route in some of this, tried to make it understandable. But the issue is that this game allows 13-year-olds, right? It even says it. Now, there are a couple issues that could get them in trouble should a parent specifically have issues with something but that's besides the point. It's not really relevant to what we're talking about. If anybody from DE wants to talk about like the 2 or 3 things that are an issue that aren't relevant to this, gamble on Warframe. So the issue is ban appeals and how to appeal them. First off, you can't do something that's like outright, banned. But one of the issues that can possibly happen due to Warframe's EULA is the EULA really isn't readable. Or searchable. Sorry. Obviously, you can read it. But if you're concerned if something is against terms of service or breaking the EULA, let's go ahead and pull this puppy up. So here we are. So say, for no reason at all, you're a YouTuber and you're getting an ad sponsor. Somebody wants to sponsor you for, I don't know, coaching. And you want to search this. Well, wouldn't you know it? There's no mention. You search for content, 69 mentions, nice. Boosting, 2 mentions. We are under the player conduct, and they don't want you to play on another person's account to boost that game account status, level, or rank. Okay, don't do that. Next, this is virtual goods and currency, character skins, mounts, vehicle, digital cards, experience boost, gear, and other customizations, talking about them selling it to you. So like affinity boosters, that sort of stuff. The main issue with the EULA, and it is dangerous, is if you're trying to look for something, it's really fucking difficult to find it sometimes. So what you would have to do, right, is you have to know what sections that apply to something. So say like streaming policy. If you were scrolling through, or you were up in the table of contents, and you're looking for something, you would probably go to like player conduct, and you would try to search for something. But if you're looking for streaming policy and you're on YouTube, you're probably not going to look at this section unless you control F. So the first step in ban appeal is reading the end user license agreement before you do anything. Because regardless of whether you read it or not, regardless of how bad this is, you had to have clicked accept. And if you can't understand this, and this will be one of the issues, I'm going to give a flavor of what one of the issues in this document is. Specifically for minors, Warframe, or I guess in this case Digital Extremes, has presented us with a end user license agreement where if you are below the age of 18, you need to have a parent acknowledge. I mean, obviously this is like on adult sites, like, are you 18? Click yes, and you could be like a 12-year-old. But there's essentially one of those for kids. The issue is that even according to their own document, if you are below the age of 16 and no less than 13, and this has to do with data collection, if y'all want to know, you can search it up. 13, you can't track a kid below that. That's why it's 13. It requires the parent to read over the end user license agreement, but at no point in time does the document require that the parent then explain the end user license agreement to the kid. So the loophole is, as much as it is, not a loophole in terms of like you get away with stuff, but it means you can have a game where you can have minors playing the game that don't understand the end user license agreement at all. Where if you were to look at, say, like Minecraft, it has very clear, hold on, Eula. If we look at the Minecraft end user license agreement, you can see they mention it right here. If you are a minor and you are having trouble understanding these terms and conditions, please ask your parent or legal guardian to explain them, especially if your parent or legal guardian is responsible for the creation of your Microsoft account and the acceptance of all terms on your behalf. Wow, what common sense. Written at a 4th grade education, and in here, it's jumbled a bit. So that's a bit of an issue, but that doesn't help you if you're an adult, right? So one of the downsides of our end user license agreement is you can't search for something. And worst case, if you search for something, you can easily, if you don't read everything, think something is okay. Okay? So let's go over up to the Code of Conduct. We will go back up. Clear conduct. In multiple spots, this sort of grazes an issue that is at hand. A YouTube sponsorship that offers coaching. Not really, but we'll get to that issue in a second. The website's garbage. Like, I even contacted like the help desk, that little automated thing, and then it connected me with a real person. And I asked them some questions, you know, pretending to be somebody. My statement was, hey, listen, I'm looking for the relic pack, and I'm looking for some information on it. I work a lot, so I'd like to be able to open relic myself, and I was seeing what the issue with the pack is, but I'm worried about account safety, and I want to know how this works, and they explained it. So how the service works, obviously it tells you loosely, but according to the person, this is how that service works. The person VPNs, or gets onto a VPN, probably somewhere close to you, they say is their location. You are supposed to give over your account information, and then that person plays on your account. So dead to rights, absolutely dead to rights, somebody's on your account. There might be some gray areas if it was a website for like really generous trade deals. but everything had to be done in game. Because like Warframe Market kind of does that, but no money is exchanged on the website. It's like, hey, listen, if you're stuck on something and it's rare, we can guarantee availability of specific items, but it's going to have to be a generous trade in our favor. And we're willing to trade for stuff that's not money. But that's not the case. This is a real money site. But if you were to search through this and do, like, YouTube gets mentioned once down at the bottom, and then you do coaching, nothing. Boosting, nothing. You search for boost, it shows up once. Leveling, one time, we get a hit. And this says, use or providing ancillary offerings to anyone that are not offered within the services by us. DE defines services as stuff that they specifically offer. So, like, their website, obviously Warframe, or the games that they offer. So would that be like Dark Sector? Wayfinder, I think, might be on there, but Soulframe will be, that sort of stuff. Such as hosting, leveling services, mirroring our servers, matchmaking, blah, blah, blah. But leveling is on here once, and you have to search for it. There's no part of this document that collectively brings everything together. So if you're searching and you're on YouTube, it talks about monetization. So if you're looking for this and you're quickly going through it, the EULA can be pretty dangerous. And that's not good. But it doesn't mean the information isn't fucking in here. Because if you look right down below, what you may not include in your video that leverages our content. You can't say that you can't imply that the video is made by DE. Pretty simple. Pretty simple. And here's one where it's pretty dangerous. One second, I gotta sneeze. This is a pretty dangerous thing. So if you think you've got the right section, and you read this, any information related to cheats, hacks, exploits, bugs, or third-party programs, including links to any of the foregoing, you might think you have a coaching program and think, okay, that's fine. But if you read the entire thing, which you should always do, it lists the entire user content under the EULA, which is the entire code of the entire player conduct section. The relevant sections from this, I would like to see reiterated here, just to make it crystal clear. The couple of sections that are relevant, it's opacity in how you would perceive this. If you're looking for something specific, the dangerous part about this, if you're worried about like a specific thing, you're looking for the thing based on what you're mentally calling it. You don't think to come up with a thesaurus of what else it could possibly be called. So that's what makes the EULA so god-awful on principle, is that they call things specific things. There's issues with like local ethics, where if it's like a religious thing, like, there's so many billion people on the planet, there's no universal ethics code. Except according to this document, there is, and no, they're not going to fucking tell you what it is. So the document is flawed. But let's go back to ban appeals. The biggest thing in terms of ban appeals is, one, be innocent, ideally. Because let's be honest here, if you're completely innocent, you can still get banned. Or timed out, or like chat banned temporarily. Still doesn't mean you're free. Because there are plenty of issues, like Baker's going through it right now. Guy's completely innocent. It's absolutely embarrassing for digital extremes. He's starting to get a ton of publicity, and the guy didn't do anything wrong. And he streamed the entire fucking thing. Then you have people where it's technically an end user license agreement, but it really doesn't make any sense why it's being applied like that. Like, say, N, right? Using Cheat Engine, wasn't using it on Warframe, was using it for another game, but he had the program open, wasn't using it, though. And he got permed for something he wasn't using actively at that moment. Then you have bans due to ignorance, which is the current, progenitor of this. And I'm not going to list it out. And then you have circumstances where the person knew beforehand, they were warned that it's going to be bannable, they were told explicitly not to do it, and then they did it anyway, which would be like your noob show tech ban. So if you're caught in a position where you did break Eula, your first thing is to tell them what you cited. It's like, listen, I did due diligence. If you did it, obviously, if you're a fucking dumbass and you don't read the end user license agreement at all, like especially if you're doing promotions and stuff like that, the number one thing that actually ends up helping you is how fucking garbage this is written. Because you can go in here, be like, oh, I looked at this and it says what I may not include in my video, and then you can cite this. And it doesn't say anything about coaching services. Now, obviously, they're going to point directly to this, but it doesn't mention anything like this. The end-user license agreement, the opacity and what it means, though everything is covered at all points in time, the fact that it's so hard to get through, unless you have an attention span, is the biggest weakness of this document. So, 1, be innocent. That's first and foremost. Still not going to be successful. 2, have evidence. 3 is don't make a fucking video on it and call out other creators that had nothing to do with your circumstance. If you were wronged and it was a bad ban, don't do a big call to action. Provide it in the support ticket. And if you get through all of that and the support system, as garbage as that is, it's as bad as the EULA. I've gotten chat bans for something that was completely innocent, but I hit something that they had deemed... I'll just tell you what the circumstance was. It was the Nezha's a trap meme. I asked, where did that come from? But how I typed it was, why do people call Nezha a trap? Instant 2 weeks. Right? Obviously, it's chat. So I was still able to play the game. What I didn't appreciate, and here's where the consequences come, okay? And this is my personal experience. When I went to the support team and I told them, I'm like, hey, listen, I asked this question. I have no idea what I did. They basically called me a bigot, and if I don't know what something means, not to talk about it. Bro, I am in my 30s, and I'm an American. Good luck with that. That is not how an open society functions. I'm sorry. That is a little bit too much Canada for a support person to be talking. Okay? If you can't explain it, then it means you don't have any... Like, you don't have any idea of what's going on. But the consequences that I make a video about it, fuck no. What did I do? I stopped spending so much fucking money with the game. Compared to what I had spent over prior years, since that support ticket, I've probably not spent $800. Okay? Those are the consequences. I didn't make a fucking video about it. If you were truly wronged, the consequences need to be in your actions. And this end-user license agreement is creating consequences, but DE can't see them. It's so convoluted because there's no... Like, one of the issues that came to my mind was you can't promote any sites that does this. The first thing that I thought about was it used to be something like in the 90s that people would troll with. Is they would find like news sites that had links to websites, or like it was really popular on some Instagram, or not Instagram, but they would, like, image hosting sites. People would find every now and then a news site that would post an image of something, but the image would be hosted on another site, and they would find the person, the profile that posted the image, and get them to change the image to something inappropriate because the website was a fucking dumbass and got an image from a link from another website instead of hosting it off their own servers. That's what this made me think of. Obviously, that's not super relevant, but the idea is that if you, like, say Raid Shadow Legends goes out of business and the website that takes over for it is like a porn site, how many people are fucked? There's no time frame attached to this. Like, you can't, like, and say the guy that this was spawned by, right? Not that it's the case, but say he posts the video, does the promo for it, delivers the deliverables, and then the website goes out of business, and like 6 months later, it's like straight up gambling, or like a gore site. But originally it was like a genuine coaching site. But now it turns into like actually like full on presented, like straight up buying plat for money, where originally it was something innocent. Not saying that's the circumstance now. There's nothing that attaches time to this. You're infinitely exposed. So anybody with a Raid Shadow Legends sponsor needs to make sure that Raid stays in business. Because if they go out of business and Raid, their server domain comes up, you better hope that doesn't become a porn site. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of this stuff, and this is one of the biggest issues with the EULA, the guy brought up a bunch of examples. Calling people out was a fucking bad idea. Don't ever call people out. But the examples were either irrelevant, wrong, and on the couple that were right, frankly, are at DE's prerogative to be flexible on. Like the one creator in the content creator program that draws porn. DE's clearly okay with it. So that person broke the rules. They got popular enough where somebody in DE was like, no, that's fine. Then that is a judgment that gets rendered on DE for not respecting their own rules. It's not something for you to like pull from. Now, what you could have done, legitimately, not that you can do that now, is if you had been wronged, or if it was something where maybe you had looked at this and you were like, okay, this is pretty self-explanatory. Like, you tell them, like, listen, I checked the Eula, it said something like this. It doesn't deal with hacks, it doesn't deal with cheats, it doesn't deal with bugs, there's no programs, and it doesn't include any links to those. You could have told them and been like, listen, okay, I did my due diligence. I checked. This is specifically what I looked at. And maybe they could have given you some leniency. But obviously, like, you actually had to have been in that circumstance. And even dealing with, like, the leniency because of other creators, like the discretion, just be like, you could have been honest. If it is a situation, be incredibly transparent with your bans. Explain to them exactly what it is, because let me tell you, they're not going to give a fuck to begin with. DE's support system is fucking horrible. I have tickets that are over 2 months old. So you don't have time when trying to deal with a ban. You just don't have the time to make up a story. Tell exactly what happened, be completely transparent, how it happened. Make sure you always do due diligence. Don't lie about it. Don't think you found something in the EULA. And the best possible case is maybe the advertiser lied, in which case take screenshots. Be like, none of this registered, as like a red flag. Show them the conversation. And if they have a like the main website, like you can show them, like I looked at this and it was fine. Clearly, that wasn't the case in what I'm talking about. Um, but if that is the way it is, and the advertiser is knowingly trying to shovel in stuff, DE can probably help you with that, provided you don't get one of the stupid ass support ticket people. If you get somebody that can actually help you, they can be like, oh, there's a company that's trying to take advantage of our creators to get them banned, and their action is getting them banned, and they're preventing the creator from being able to research properly by creating false services and showing them not the company that they're going to be sending people to. That's an entirely different issue. But you're supposed to do due diligence. But with bans, be completely honest in the tickets. And let's be honest, I'm not promising any sort of efficacy on this because the ticket system is horrible. As far as I can tell, it's bots 90% of the time. They don't respond correctly to what you said, or they'll link shit to the forum posts that's irrelevant. That was the last one that I got. And it means you're going to be opening 3 or 4 tickets. So their system is horrible. The DE doesn't view their support system, and this is just a word of warning. DE doesn't view their support system as it should, where it's marketing for people that already play your game. It's not an advertisement to a new player. It's an ad to your people that already play your games. If the support system is good, people know they're being taken care of. But because of the support system, I've just spent less money, and I'm not going to make any fucking noise about it. So, step 1, be innocent. Step 2, support ticket first. Be completely and utterly transparent about what happened. If there's screenshots to support your case, take them. Say in the case of an advertisement, I know there's probably like NDAs, but let me tell you, I will never tell you to break a contract, but if you happen to leak some screenshots of what that contract looked like, now would be a good time. Be persistent. Don't be belligerent, because frankly, they don't have to care. Like, all that circumstance and everything, it's ultimately not their fucking issue. Because now, most companies that care about growth will be somewhat defensive. Not extremely, but at least acknowledge that their creators are also their marketing. Like DE has said in support tickets to me that making YouTube content counts as promotional material to encourage people to experience Warframe. And that's a support ticket saying that about like YouTube videos. So they at least acknowledge that like the content is helping them. And if you've been taken advantage of by like a company that was malicious, and they have to be malicious, they can't just tell you what it is and you don't know what the fuck you're doing and you click it and accept it. Like, that's not their problem. But if they lied to get you to agree to the contract, one, the contract's probably not valid. And you can tell them, listen, I'm not going to honor this contract. You can push back on them and be like, listen, you fucking lied. I have screenshots of the entire fucking thing. You misled me. I'm nullifying the fucking contract. And any money that they've given you, you have to give it back. But that contract's null and void right there. And if they want to take it, I don't know how it is in other countries, but I'm in the US. If somebody lies about what the contract is over or massively misrepresents themselves, that out of all the legal things that, you know, you have to fight over, that's one of the easier things. I mean, it can take a minute, but like, there's a step-by-step process for that. So the idea that like, if they didn't present themselves correctly or give you the opportunity, like pressured you into something, like emotional distress, there's an argument for that, because there's several pillars for a contract being valid. And if they lied and like misrepresented what they did or they hid it, and you didn't have time, you got like stressed, you can argue against that and push back on the company. But that's ultimately not DE's problem. They need to take the initiative and actively, and they don't. But I'm just saying, like, they would need to take the initiative and be like, oh, one of our creators is being taken advantage of, and it's by a company that's providing services that make us look bad. Like they on principle, not that they have to, but on principle they should do something. But it's their option to, and with our current support system, they're probably never going to get that feedback. So, anyway, to reiterate, be innocent in the first place. That's ideal. And even then, that's not a guarantee because the support system's crap. 2, if it was a genuine misunderstanding and you did due diligence and you just misunderstood something, that is next to ideal, but nowhere near ideal. The next one is you were a dumbass. In which case you could get some leniency, but it's not going to be anywhere near the first two, especially the first one. Then you can plead ignorance, like you didn't know at all, but you didn't do shit to check because it's a business contract. That's probably, I would say that's firmly square in your own fuck up, and life comes at you fast. The next one is you asked beforehand, you did due diligence, knew it was wrong, and you're trying to shoehorn it. The only option you basically have is that you read everything, and it just wasn't called the right thing. Maybe some leniency, but they don't have to do that. They don't have to be lenient at all. Because the fact is you click this. It's a user agreement. You can add all that context, put it in a box, and then you have to deal with all of it, and DE gets to look at it and go, do I have to deal with this? No. And you're gone. So ban appeals are very straightforward. And with DE, it is a massive uphill battle, if you even want to call it a battle. Because their support system's bad. Like, it is bad marketing constantly. I have spent less money in this game because of their support system specifically. So, it is what it is. Like, obviously, I broke a rule, but, like, how was I supposed to know? Like, it's not written down somewhere. You can't use these terms. And that is what it is. So, that's my advice, is don't do it. If any of you are worried about the end user license agreement, what I would suggest every single one of you do, I'm not your dad, but if you have any questions, you can do exactly like what I did. You can read through it, take notes on locations of stuff that you have questions on, and then you can send support tickets to DE about it where you can be ignored like me. Like, my oldest ticket that's still open is a 2-month-old ticket, and it deals with something in the EULA, and I keep refreshing it. Like, once a month, I just ask, can I get any sort of an update? And it's on, like, monetization policies, dealing with Patreon, and what can be monetized. It is not something that's covered in this, but I obviously haven't done that stuff first, and then ask questions later. And they're ignoring it. That's whatever. I mean, that speaks more to them, like I'm not being an asshole about it. But that sort of stuff does speak more to them. Like, this sort of stuff is, the consequences of this are you might be trashed by it. But the fact is because of how weak this end user license agreement is and how convoluted and how much effort you have to put into it, which other end user license agreements just don't fucking have. There's a reason why the creators that Warframe has started in Warframe, and why you don't see big YouTubers coming over to Warframe. They have to get paid, and then they fucking leave when the advertisement's done. People aren't coming over to Warframe that are huge. If they do, it's for like a day or two, and then they bounce. Because the chance of you getting banned or 2-week suspension for something goes up the longer you play the fucking game. So, it is what it is. I can only give so much of a warning. Oh, and please, for the love of God, if you ever do a I was banned video, do not, for the love of God, swing at other people. If you want to bring up examples, Jesus Christ, blur their fucking names out. Like, that is like some David versus Goliath shit. And, like, posting 5 to 6 other people, like, oh, if I'm banned, these guys should be banned. Everybody instantly knows you don't have a fucking pot to piss in terms of your argument. Your case needs to be rock solid on its own. Don't make your problems bigger than they already are. Anyway, rant over. Thank you guys. Take it easy. Have a blessed day. And don't get banned and make YouTube videos trashing a bunch of people and making that your reputation. Oh, final word of warning. I have noticed, and this, not to call them out specifically, like, make an issue out of it. I have noticed a couple of YouTubers making videos in response to the I was banned post or video that got taken down. Basically, unless you were specifically mentioned in it, don't list the person by name because they've taken the video down. Read the end user license agreement. There was one video that was a response video, and it was one of the creators that were specifically listed in it. They have every fucking right to keep that video up. But if you weren't listed, read the end user license agreement before keeping your video up. Okay? And it deals with, fuck, what is it? Moral rights? What's that stupid ass thing? I'm from America. We don't fucking have moral rights. And read what that fucking definition is. Anyway, have a blessed day, guys.